And increasingly, we see more and more video in the world of imagery, both real-time video as well as collected video that needs to be viewed. It's called full motion video. This full motion video can now be integrated into ArcGIS. So on the map, you see the footprint of where the camera is looking. And then in the display, you can see what the camera is seeing. One of the new data sets that we've added for 10.1 is LiDAR. LiDAR, probably not a lot of you have right now. But I would venture that within 5 years, LiDAR will be a key, I would say, critical data set for well over half of you. LiDAR is tremendous in its ability to collect information, but it's massive. It's easy to have 1 million points. It's pretty straightforward to have 1 billion points. How do you deal with this data? The challenge is in how you manage it. With 10.1, what we've done is we manage LiDAR like we've innovated in managing imagery. You're able to leave the LiDAR files in their native LAS or LAS file format, and we will on the fly mosaic them, and on the fly be able to show them to you as a raster, as a surface, or even as a point cloud. This is increasingly of interest for many municipalities and utilities. Within the United States, it's now been mandated by law that every utility company is collecting all of the high-tension transmission lines using LiDAR. And we're talking about utilities. Well, I met with one last week, and they're expecting to have 1 petabyte of information in the next 5 years. So let's take a look at what it means to use LiDAR. Great. Here we have just our standard base map. And I can come in here and take an LAS file and just drag it into the map. And you'll see the points draw on top of the map. Now, as I zoom in on an area, we'll see more data come in. There he goes. And you can start to make out the structures. This is the raw point cloud. But I can filter this and look at this as a surface instead of the points. To use the surface, it's interpolating a surface on the fly. It doesn't have to create any new data. So now I can actually look at the information behind this. If I wanted to, I could actually filter this to look at just the ground response from the LiDAR, non-ground, or the first thing that it hit. So in this case, let's go back to the elevation class. When you look at this data, you can see there seems to be some patterns in some of this data. You might recognize what some of this is. So this is a baseball stadium, but you get this line of kind of green things here. And you can use new tools with a profile tool to look at what this looks like as a profile. Anybody know? They're trees. And you can actually go in. Many times what you'll see when working with this data is the data is misclassified. And you're actually able to go into this data now and dynamically edit the attributes of each of those points to reclassify it. Now, we don't consider ourselves a LiDAR processing system. What we do, though, is once it's been processed, we allow you to visualize it, analyze it, and directly use that data to supplement your GIS. And of course, we can look at all of this data in 3D as well as 2D to be able to easily use this. And this scales to work at any scale of data. Okay, go back to slides. Behind all of this, sorry. This one's moving faster than that one. I'm seeing a slide down here that's not being projected. The ArcGIS server slide. Yeah, that's the one. Behind all of this is ArcGIS Server. It provides the infrastructure for us to be able to take all this information and serve it out, be able to take that LiDAR data and provide it to everybody in your organization. You really don't want to pass around 8 billion points. You want to pass around a service. You want everybody to be able to use a common infrastructure. We've done a lot of work at improving that infrastructure at 10.1. Probably the biggest change is ArcGIS Server 10.1 is a native 64-bit application. So it'll take advantage of the larger memory and performance. But we've done a lot of work at re-architecting how the system is engineered so that you can scale it out much easier in your own internal cloud deployments and truly use an elastic system, one that grows with demand. The question you need to ask yourself is, in your organization, don't they expect the same thing from your data? You need to think about how you're going to provide this level of service and capabilities. But as Dean mentioned, here in São Paulo, traffic, where you can get in 10 minutes, sort of varies versus time of day. So we've also added capabilities to the network analyst extension, as well as through the desktop and through server, to be able to calculate routes based on time of day and current traffic patterns. So in this example, let's put in some points. Let's start here. Start there. There it is. And then let's go over here. And then we're going to come down here and probably come over here somewhere. Okay? That's at 6 in the morning. That's probably your best route to take. But as I hit play, you'll start to see the streets change color. That indicates the density of traffic because it changes during the day. And if you keep your eye on the blue line, you'll notice that it starts to change where it goes based on the traffic during the time of day. This is San Francisco. It gets very São Paulo-like in its traffic at certain times of the day. And I can advance this, so let's look at evening rush hour. And you can see this area up here keeps changing. Where we get off of the interstate over here has changed quite a bit. But of course, if we advance to just around midnight, the routes change back and it's all green. It's very easy now, an ability to take advantage of all this capability. Okay, back to slides. Great. But one of the main features that we've done for ArcGIS at 10.1 is the ability to share your information. The ability to take your information that you have on your desktop and easily share that with others. For the last several releases, we've had the capability to share as a package, where you take your data, you take your map, and you put it into a file. And then I can easily give it to any of you as GIS professionals, and you can open it. At 10.1, we've added to this to allow you to start to share not just your maps, but your tradecraft, your work. To be able to take your analysis, your models, and package them up and give it to somebody else to be able to run. That's something that's been very, very hard for many years. This will change how many of us do our work. We can rely on the expert in the organization to build the model. We can then package that model and share it to everyone else just to use directly. And we actually have packaged up locators for doing the geocoding and something called tile packages, where you want to give somebody the picture of the map, but not necessarily all the source data. But one of the big options you now have is the ability to share this information not just as a file, but as a live service that you can use. Which means you can package it up on your desktop and send it to your own server and spin it up for internal so everybody can directly use it. You can spin it up to our own hosted infrastructure. Online and ArcGIS Desktop, they now work together to be able to provide you a place to share your maps. Not just as packages, but as live services. And for some of you who can't connect to the outside web, you can take the ArcGIS online system and move it behind your firewall and use that as the portal.